The door slammed shut behind me like a gunshot in the dead of night, but it was midday, and the sound echoed through our cramped apartment like a betrayal I couldn't unhear. There on the kitchen counter lay the envelope, ripped open, its contents spilled like guts from a fresh kill. My bank statement. The one that showed the direct deposits. $40,000 wired in every month from my freelance coding gigs, the ones I'd buried under layers of secrecy and thrift store clothes. And standing over it, his back to me, was Jake, my boyfriend of 2 years, clutching a phone to his ear. Yeah man, she's loaded. Like stupid rich. I've been playing the long game, but now? Jackpot. We'll split it once I get her to marry me or something. Nah, she won't suspect a thing, she thinks I'm broke too. The words hit me like acid, burning through the fog of love I'd wrapped myself in. My hands trembled as I dropped my grocery bags, apples rolling across the linoleum like escaped prisoners. Jake spun around, his face paling to the color of spoiled milk, the phone slipping from his grip. Babe, you're home early. His voice cracked, but not with guilt, with calculation, eyes darting to the statement like a thief caught mid-heist. Fury exploded in my chest, hot and primal, making my vision tunnel. I wanted to scream, to claw at his lying face, but instead I froze, the air thick with the scent of betrayal. His cheap cologne mixed with a faint metallic tang of fierce sweat. How had I been so blind? I'd hidden my wealth to test him, to see if love could bloom without the glitter of money. We'd met at a dive bar, both pretending to scrape by. Me in my faded jeans and him in his worn flannel, sharing stories of ramen nights and overdue bills. But now this heartbreak clawed up my throat, a sob I swallowed like broken glass. Get out, I whispered, my voice ablade. He didn't move at first, just stared. His handsome features twisting into that boyish charm he'd weaponized so many times. Emma, wait, it's not what you think. I was just joking with my buddy. Come on, you know me. But I did know him now, didn't I? The late nights at work, the sudden interest in my side hustles, the way he'd probe about my family inheritance that didn't exist. Layers peeled back, revealing the rot beneath. I lunged for the statement, snatching it from the counter, the paper crumpling in my fist. Joking. You think I'm an idiot? My voice rose, cracking like thunder. Anger surged, but beneath it, humiliation burned. Hot tears stinging my eyes. I'd built my empire in secret, coding algorithms for tech giants from our dingy living room while he lounged on the couch, complaining about his dead-end job at the warehouse. I'd paid the rent anonymously through a fake account, bought groceries on a budget, all to keep things real. And he'd seen me as a mark. Jake stepped closer, hands raised like I was a wild animal. Babe, listen. Love you. This money thing. It's a surprise, yeah, but we can use it together. Imagine, no more slumming it. His words dripped with false sincerity, but I caught the glint in his eye, the greed he'd hidden behind lazy smiles and stolen kisses. Resentment boiled in my veins, a poison I'd nurse later. For now, I shoved him toward the door, my nails digging into his arm. Out. Now. He stumbled back, grabbing his jacket from the hook. Fine, but you'll regret this. You think you're so smart hiding all that cash. You're just lonely, Emma. That's why you fell for me. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving silence like a vacuum, sucking the air from my lungs. I slid to the floor, back against the cabinets, the cold tile seeping through my jeans. Heartbreak washed over me in waves, each one heavier than the last. 2 years. Laughter over burnt dinners, whispered promises in the dark, road trips in his beat-up Chevy. All fake. No, not all, but tainted now like ink bleeding through paper. I clutched my knees, rocking slightly, the apartment's familiar smells mocking me. Stale coffee from this morning, his lingering aftershave. Denial crept in, whispering that maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe he was scared, lashing out. But no, the phone call replayed in my mind, a loop of venom. Jackpot. Obsession flickered to life, a dark seed in my chest. He'd pay for this. Not with violence, that was too crude. Something smarter, colder. I'd make him feel the humiliation I'd swallowed, the trust he'd shattered. Hours blurred into evening, the sun dipping behind the city skyline visible from my window casting long shadows like fingers reaching for me. I paced the living room, bare feet padding on the threadbare rug we'd picked out together at a flea market. Every corner held a memory. The couch where we'd binge-watched shows, the bookshelf crammed with my hidden tech books and his dog-eared thrillers. Guilt nipped at me. Had I invited this by lying? But no, my secrecy was a shield, born from past heartbreaks where men chased my wallet, not me. Jake was supposed to be different. My phone buzzed, his text. "I'm sorry. Me explain. Staying at Mike's tonight." The buddy from the call. Resentment flared anew, and I typed back nothing, deleting drafts of rage-filled rants. Instead, I opened my laptop, the screen's glow harsh in the dim room. My fingers flew over the keys, pulling up his social media, his emails. I'd hacked his passwords months ago, a casual flex I'd never used. Till now. Photos of us smiled back mockingly. Beach days, holidays. But deeper in his messages, the truth unraveled like a frayed rope. Chats with Mike. She's clueless. Once I lock it down, we're set. Plans to invest my money in some crypto scam. And worse, flirty DMs with an ex, timestamps overlapping our dates. Heartbreak twisted into fury, a knife in my gut. How dare he? I'd given him everything but the truth, and he'd taken more. By midnight, the city outside hummed with distant traffic, horns blaring like accusations. I sat at the kitchen table, nursing a glass of cheap wine, the kind we'd shared to keep it real. Inner thoughts swirled, fantasies of exposing him, ruining his life. But doubt crept in. What if revenge made me the monster? Moral conflict gnawed, but the obsession grew, roots digging deep. I'd start small, strategic. Quiet hints of vengeance, building like a storm. The next morning, rain pattered against the windows, turning the world gray and muffled. I called in sick to my day job, a front for my real work, and began planning. First, change the locks. The locksmith arrived by noon, his tools clinking like chains. "Boyfriend trouble?" he asked, eyebrow raised. I nodded, forcing a smile. Something like that. As he worked, I imagined Jake's face when he tried his key, confusion turning to panic. He showed up that evening, flowers in hand, wilting daisies from the corner store. Pathetic. I watched from the peephole, heart pounding. "Emma, open up. We need to talk." His voice was pleading, but I heard the edge, the manipulation. I cracked the door, chain in place. "Talk." He shifted on the welcome mat, rain dripping from his hair. I was an idiot. The money shocked me, that's all. "I love you for you, not that." Lies smooth as oil. But I played along, voice steady despite the rage simmering beneath. "Prove it. Leave and give me space." His eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering. "You're hiding something." Irony burned my tongue, but I shut the door, leaning against it as his footsteps faded. Alone again, the apartment felt cavernous, echoes of our laughter haunting the walls. Resentment built, brick by brick. I'd uncover more, his debts, his schemes. Using my skills, I delved into his financials. Maxed credit cards, loans in my name. No, but close. Co-signed applications I'd forgotten. Fury ignited, but I tempered it with cold resolve. Revenge wouldn't be rash. It'd be surgical. Days blurred into a haze of isolation. I ate takeout from greasy cartons, the flavors ash on my tongue. Friends called, but I ignored them, too raw, too exposed. Inner monologues raged. He saw me as simple, weak. I'll show him power. But guilt whispered, what if he changes? Doubt flickered, but obsession won. I started small. Anonymous tips to his boss about irregular hours, watching from afar as he scrambled. One night, thunder rattled the windows, lightning flashing like paparazzi bulbs. I sat cross-legged on the bed, laptop balanced on my knees, hacking into his cloud storage. Photos, videos, intimate ones of us. My stomach churned. He'd shared some. No evidence, but the fear fueled me. Plans crystallized. Drain his accounts subtly, frame him for fraud. But moral grayness loomed. Was I becoming him? A week later, he ambushed me outside the building, coffee in hand like a peace offering. "Emma, please. I miss you." His eyes were red-rimmed, genuine. Or staged. We walked to the park nearby. Benches slick with recent rain. The air heavy with petrichor. "Why'd you hide the money?" he asked, voice soft. I stared at the ducks in the pond, ripples distorting their reflections. "To see if you'd love me without it." Truth laced with venom. He sighed, "I do. But yeah, I got greedy. Forgive me." Tension hung, suspense coiling like a spring. I nodded slowly, a lie. "Maybe." Inside, resolve hardened. This was the beginning of the end. Back home, I plotted in the dim glow of my screen, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat. Subtle moves. Transfer small sums from his savings. Untraceable thanks to my code. Watch him panic, blame others. The slow burn ignited, tension rising with each keystroke. The coffee shop buzzed with midday chatter, steam rising from mugs like ghosts of forgotten promises. 2 weeks post-discovery, and here I was, facing Jake across a scarred wooden table, his hand reaching for mine. "I'm glad you agreed to meet," he said, voice laced with that familiar charm. But now I saw the cracks, the slight tremor in his fingers, the way his eyes darted to my purse, wondering what secrets it held. I forced a smile, lips tight. "Me too." Inside, turmoil raged. Heartbreak lingering like a bruise, resentment a constant hum. But obsession drove me. Revenge not as a blaze but a smothering fog. I'd started the unraveling. His bank app showing mysterious deductions, emails from creditors I'd fabricated. He looked haggard, shadows under his eyes from sleepless nights chasing phantoms. "Tell me about your work," I probed, stirring my latte, the spoon clinking softly against porcelain. He hesitated, then spun tales of warehouse woes, but I knew the truth. Fired yesterday, thanks to my tip about embezzlement. Planted evidence, digital breadcrumbs. "Sounds tough," I murmured, feigning sympathy. Dialogue danced on a knife's edge, each word heightening suspense. Would he crack? Confess? He leaned in, breath warm against my cheek. "With your money we could start over. Travel, buy a house." Greed gleamed, undisguised. My stomach twisted, guilt at my deception, but cold resolve pushed it down. "Maybe," I replied, voice even. Inner conflict stormed. Was this justice or cruelty? Doubt nagged, but the memory of his phone call fueled me. Leaving the shop, rain-slicked streets reflected neon signs, puddles splashing underfoot. He walked me home, arm around my waist like old times. Tension built, a slow crescendo. At the door he kissed me, soft, insistent. Pulled away. "Not yet." His frustration flashed, but he nodded, retreating into the night. Alone I paced the apartment, the floorboards creaking like accusations. Plans escalated. Hack his job prospects, sabotage his social circle. But moral grayness deepened. What if he suffered too much? Fantasies shifted. Not destruction but exposure. Make him beg, then deny. The next day, sunlight filtered through blinds, striping the walls like prison bars. My phone rang, Jake panicked. "Emma, something's wrong. My account's drained. $500 gone." His voice cracked, vulnerability peeking through. Feigned concern. "Hackers. Call the bank." Inside, satisfaction bloomed, but layered with guilt. Was I the villain now? We met again, a park bench under overcast skies, wind rustling leaves like whispers of conspiracy. "Help me," he pleaded, eyes desperate. "Loan me some cash." Irony burned, him, the gold digger, begging. I nodded, transferring funds via app. Tracked, booby-trapped. "Thanks, babe. You're a lifesaver." His gratitude rang hollow, but I smiled, suspense coiling tighter. Weeks passed in a blur of calculated moves. I reconciled, letting him back in partially. Dinners where I'd drop hints of my wealth, watching greed ignite. Inner thoughts churned. Heartbreak evolved into obsession, plans refining. I'd frame him for identity theft, using my code to plant evidence on his devices. One evening, candlelight flickered in our apartment, casting dancing shadows. We'd cooked together, pasta simmering, garlic scent filling the air. "I love this," he said, forking noodles. But his phone buzzed. "Mike, any progress on the cash?" I glimpsed it, rage flaring. Later in bed, sheets tangled, he whispered, "Marry me." The ultimate con. I whispered back, "Soon." But inside, resolve crystallized. The payoff neared. Climax built. I invited him over for talks. Wine poured, glasses clinking. "I know everything," I said calmly. His face drained. "What?" I laid it out. Messages, plans, betrayals. He stammered. "It was a mistake." But denial crumbled as I showed evidence. Screen glowing accusingly. Panic set in. He lunged for my phone, but I dodged, heart racing. "You'll ruin me," he yelled. Tension peaked, air electric. I called the cops. Anonymous tip earlier, fraud charges waiting. Sirens wailed outside, growing louder. As they cuffed him, his eyes met mine, betrayal mirrored. "Why?" he whispered. "You deserved it," I replied, voice cold. But as he was led away, a twist. Guilt crashed over me. Had I gone too far? Poetic justice, yet hollow. Months later, alone in luxury I'd finally embraced. A penthouse overlooking the city, lights twinkling like distant stars, I reflected. Revenge tasted bittersweet. Obsession fading to emptiness. The dramatic payoff. His conviction, my freedom. But unexpected consequence. Loneliness, an echo of the simple life I'd lost. Was it worth it? The question lingered, morally gray, as rain pattered against glass, washing away the past.